I took too long in it, but finally there in it.
Yeah.
So now you asked me what it's gonna be called. Basically, I've got two ideas.
Yeah.
One was Devil's Advocate, but somebody said to me that's a bit on the nose because they're gonna make it. It's gonna make people think that I'm just gonna try to say like controversial things. But that's not really why I'm calling it that. I'm just calling it that because I've come to find that I'm always the Devil's Advocate when I'm talking. But I had an idea to call it something else called it's Latin. It's called Magnum Opus. And that means like your most important like literary or theatrical or written piece that like sort of defines your whole like so to call it that would be like to say like I'm trying to step into something that
I like that one better. It's unique.
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But yeah. And then, so yeah, this is it basically. Kind of awkward now, innit? But nah, why don't we just start? Do you have any like questions for me? Anything you wanna know?
I don't know, like I'm just vibing, like
okay, fair enough.
yeah.
I had the idea like we should maybe like probably talk a bit about mental health, since that's like how I met you. So but we could talk about other things.
No, that's fine.
But the podcast itself, the reason why I wanted to call it Devil's Advocate was because have you ever seen like Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Like
with him, if you ever watched his podcast, he'll be talking about conspiracy theories to one person, another person he's talking about MMA, another time he's on about sports or science. He'll have Neil deGrasse Tyson, then we'll have a politician, then we'll have Robert Downey Jr. He's talking about Iron Man. It's like all sorts of different things that like they're discussing, and it's like natural conversations. It's not like interviews or scripts, like things like that. It's like a natural conversation you'll have like with your friends that I'm trying to do with this. So no, that's why. And I've noticed I've always got like I'm confident in what I believe in, so I won't necessarily change my opinion just to fit in. That's why I wanted to call it Devil's Advocate, but that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast, innit?
No, that's really good though. You're staying true to yourself.
I'm trying to, innit? Well, what about you? What do you think? Like, what's your?
In what sense?
Like, what would you like to see if you were watching it? What would you be interested in talking since you're here anyway?
Transparency, just honest conversations, no like beating around the bush, just say things as it is.
Honestly, yeah.
Eventually. Yeah.
Calm. But we can start with mental health, innit? But do you want to chat to me about like where you've been since we last spoke?
Okay.
How you've been dealing with?
So how long ago was that again? This was roughly around, was it like April?
I think around that time.
Since then, okay. So obviously I gave my life to Christ a year ago, November. So, transparency. So beforehand, like at this time, I was seeing someone I shouldn't have been seeing.
Okay.
I was seeing him for a year, and I had tried to cut him off before, once in October, and then a second time in February. And February was the last time I had actually seen him like face to face.
Right.
But then he, guys like to spin the block. Like, he would still like message me and whatnot, and I would fall for it. But I never actually saw him. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm doing well. Like I'm not actually seeing him.
Right.
So that was that. But then I fell like in June. I saw him and I was like, damn. And when I saw him that day, there were so many signs from God. Like God does not approve of our situation like at all. Like I already knew this. I already knew like God had told me this. But on that day, everything went wrong. Everything, every little thing, every big thing, everything had like gone wrong. So I was like, you know what, God, I've heard you loud and clear.
Okay.
I need to tell you this and that. Like.
So when you saw him in person for the first time in a long time, you're saying like things went wrong throughout the day. Yeah,
everything about that day.
Okay.
Was horrible.
And you took that as a sign.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, like it didn't even make sense. That's how I knew it was supernatural.
Right.
In that sense, like it just wasn't making sense. So I was like, okay, cool. So that did take a toll on me in the sense that I really like this person. Like I genuinely really liked him. I really wanted things to work with him.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where I know I deserve better. Like I know every girl says that, it's so cliche, like I deserve better, but like I can reflect. There's been times where in the past, like I used to have a player phase, I know that they deserve better, so I can take accountability. I'm not one to point. Like I can say that, I can say the truth and be like, okay, I treated these people wrong. I hope they find better. But in this instance, like genuinely, I did deserve better.
Right.
And actually accepting that, okay, I deserve better, but I want this one. Yeah. Like it was something that was very hard for me. And it took more of a toll on me than I ever thought it would. Right. Like, especially because beforehand, when I had tried to cut him off, I felt, I guess, like I was in control in that sense. But because, like I said, it was supernatural, all the signs, it was like, okay, like I really need to, this is, there's something I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? So I need to really just let go. So that was a difficult process, but God's got me, so.
Wait, so from February to how long did it take you to let go of that guy? So
after that day, I saw him on the 1st of June. So it's been 6 months now. Oh, okay. I never saw him again after that.
All right.
Done and dusted then.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, it was difficult process over summer and whatnot, but.
And then, is that what motivated you to finding God?
No, because.
Would that have been like one of the things that motivated you?
Not really, because. Well, yeah, it contributed because I had already kind of started my walk. Like even finding God, I never wanted to find God. God found me.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, of course.
like, because some people do sometimes. You know, they go through a bad breakup and they're like, "Oh, I need God." For me, it wasn't the case. Like at all. Like even how I came to God. So I'll share like my testimony. Yeah. So I used to do like a lot of drugs, and I used to do a lot of alcohol. Like from a young age. Yeah. I started weed at 11 years old, like very, very, very young, and that was just my lifestyle. I had no intention of changing. Like I was cool with it, and then one day, August 20th of 2022, 2022, I was at a party and like doing the usual, and all of a sudden the room felt like dark, but not like physically dark, but like spiritually, and I didn't understand this at the time. Yeah. And I felt genuinely like I was dying and I was going to hell.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't like physical, it was beyond...
That in your soul?
Yeah, it was so weird. And I was so scared, and I was like, God, if you save me, if I live tomorrow, I promise you I'm not going to touch the alcohol, I'm going to touch the weed, I'm not going to touch balloons, I'm done. So I lived, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to keep my promise. Okay. So that was that, and I left it at that. I wasn't praying or anything. I was like, thank you, God, like, and went about my business. Okay. And then in my comm that I used to live at, I became friends with this girl just because she was black. Like that. Okay. That was the only reason. Like that's literally the only reason we became friends. Yeah. And then she must have invited me to church, and I was like, I'm not going. Like she gave me the what's it called? The leaflet. Active, like. But I was just thinking I'm actually not going. So when everything she was saying was going through one ear and out the other, but I just took the leaflet to be polite. But then I took the leaflet and I left it just like on my desk.
Why didn't you bin it?
I don't know. I just left it there, like just on my desk. Okay. Just I didn't think much of it, but every time I'd walk past it, I felt so drawn to it. So I kept like picking up the leaflet all the time. I read it so many times, and it was just so strong. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to church. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. Okay. But this needs to go. Right. So this was November 27th, and then so I went to church that day, and I gave my life to Christ that day. I didn't even know what it meant. Nothing. I didn't understand anything. Right. Like at all. So then things started happening and whatnot. So like I knew I had to let go of this guy, not just because I deserve better, but also because like we were having sex and I wanted to practice abstinence now. So there was levels to it. Do you get what I'm saying? So things slowly started like happening. Right, yeah. And then I just knew that he had to go.
Okay. He had to go. Fair enough. That's interesting, because you didn't tell me that at the time. Or when I met you before. Now you lot told me about a story with lion and tiger and all those things, so I didn't know. Was that kind of why you Was that the cause behind your like mental anguish at the time?
Yeah, like because it was quite difficult.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And the story you told me of like some guy turning up to your apartment. I don't know. I can't remember whether he hit you or he acted like he was gonna hit you.
Yeah.
Was that involving this guy that you're telling me about now?
No, he had nothing to do with it, but it's like crazy though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because I'm reflecting back on what you told me before and piecing it together. What you said. No, I didn't know that. That's why, or that motivated you. So okay, how is it? Do you feel? How has it affected you today?
In like which particular part?
Do you think like obviously I know you would have grown a bit, but do you feel like you've had more of a positive? Do you feel more positively because of it?
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like everything that has happened was meant to happen.
Yeah.
And there's even like one of my favorite like Bible verses. It says sometimes it takes a painful experience to make us change our ways.
Yeah, I think I saw you post that.
Yeah. And it's like it's so true. Like in the moment, of course, when you're in the pain, it doesn't feel like that.
Honestly.
But upon reflection, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change any of it.
No, of course. Like everything you are today is a result of what happened yesterday. It's built you.
Yeah.
To be who you are.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Did you never tell anyone else about this? Like,
no.
Other than, so it was in a way between you and that girl. So wait, have you ever told anyone about this?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really? Not even like close friends about...
Oh, no. Oh, no, I have. I told my friend Tumi, my best friend Tumi.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. But like, just keep it stepping.
That's crazy. No, yeah. Do you know what? I was feeling like a way about things like that. And I was just thinking like, with people like, there's always like 3 big things, like themes that affect a person's life. And it usually, like, one of them is change. So in my life, for me, it was like moving countries, like big change like that. Kind of like holds you mentally. So I moved from Ireland to the UK when I was 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're Nigerian Irish.
Yeah, basically. Basically, innit? So, change is one of those things. And another thing is failure. And failure really marks people up. And it can, like, I see some people that are homeless on the street and I've spoken to some of them and usually it's either change or failure that has essentially kind of brought their life like, and twisted and turned it. And the last thing, which is probably more of what you were going through, is heartbreak. And I think those 3 things really are what like impacts people mentally. So now hearing you come out, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. So it's good. I'm glad for you.
Thank you.
I'm glad for you. Do you still like, was you getting counselling because of it?
Not because of that, but it did come up.
Right.
Like in counselling.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced heartbreak?
I don't even know. I doubt it, honestly. I don't think so.
Have you ever been in love?
I think in the childish sense that I think it's different for men and women probably. But really? when I say that, it's like I've never been like. No, I've never been in love, but I think when you're coming up as like a guy or a boy, maybe you see a girl and you think maybe you got one of them crushes, but I don't think I've ever said like, or I can never say I fell in love.
Have you really liked a girl?
Have I ever really liked a girl?
That tells me no. The fact that I hesitate.
No.
That says no.
No. I think maybe I've had crushes here and there, but nothing really I've ever pursued. Like, have I ever really liked a girl? I don't think, in hindsight, looking back on it now, no.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, you know. I've never sort of pursued anyone.
But why? Does that come down to like trust issues? Commitment issues?
Do you know what? I think I'm a little bit immature. So I never took any of that kind of stuff seriously. But I think when you're at the age we're getting at now, I think we're old enough to start thinking about marriage. So I think where I am now probably like is where I'm probably thinking about maybe pursuing somebody. Like, I'll be honest, like every now and again I might see somebody and I think, oh, that woman's beautiful, I want to marry her. At best, like I think I've seen 1 or 2 people in uni like that. But No, I've never felt in. So were you in love?
I've been in love more than once.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't.
Yeah.
What's that like then?
What, being in love?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, but I do believe that I've always been in love with the wrong person.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah, so I don't think I've been in love with the right person.
Right.
So I feel like my experience in love, like how do I explain this? Like, I wouldn't say I've experienced the healthiest form of love.
Yeah.
Like in past relationships, but. And there was a time where I thought, oh, like, this is just what love is. But that view has already changed since coming to God. I was like, no, what I want does actually exist.
Fair enough.
So my perspective has changed. But
yeah. Okay, interesting. Was your family background Christian?
So like, yeah. So like my parents are divorced.
Okay.
So I live with my mom. So my dad's side of the family, they're Christian. But I do believe that there's people who call themselves Christian,
right?
And there's actual Christians,
right?
And I feel like it is a shame that some people do call themselves Christians and they don't actually represent like what the Bible says, because then that leaves it open for like the world to think, oh, Christians believe this and this. When you read the Bible,
yeah. I think I see a lot of that in the media these days.
Yeah, when it's just not. It's sad because a lot of Christians like project that, do you get what I'm saying? And they present themselves in a certain way. So yes, like I can say this, like in my family, my dad's side of the family call themselves Christians, but in the behaviour I wouldn't say they're actually Christians. So they do believe in Jesus and whatnot. And then on my mom's side of the family, they're all Muslim except for my mom.
Oh really? Oh, so you're like me?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, except for my mom though. But she was Muslim and she converted after she got divorced with my dad, and she's an actual Christian. But she always let me explore. She never forced it down my throat or anything. Right. It was like.
Okay.
Deep.
Actually, I wanna touch on that in a sec. Use the word force in it, but that's interesting. But what you said about people who call themselves Christians, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact like we live in a secular country. And there was big emphasis on like separating the church from the state and all that. So I think a lot of that is just due to the fact that back in the day, maybe 70 years ago or something, people were Christian as in they went to the church every Sunday and like prayed and done all the rituals associated with Christianity. But I think these days, I think a lot of kids, alright, because it's a secular state, maybe their parents or their grandparents might have been Christian and really believed in the book, but the kids of today are more. I think everyone's kind of more like not even atheist, agnostic, all those kind of things. I think that's probably why a lot of people see Christianity the way they see it today, where it's not as much. Because even religion itself, like the religion itself is quite outlandish in the sense that I meet a lot of people that say like they believe in science, right? And then you compare them to the people who say they're Christian, and how you say people practice certain things which aren't Christian. Like in Christianity, like even in Islam, you have to believe a lot of things that scientifically don't make sense, like the fact that you have the Virgin Mary without having sex ever gave birth to Jesus, peace be upon him. So those kind of things, I think a lot of people try to remove from it, but they don't realize the faith that you need to have. You have to believe in things that by today's standards don't make sense.
Yeah, because I think people, especially today, people just are trying to be so like woke these days. They want to know everything. They try and put God in a box. God is so mysterious.
Things we can't even comprehend.
Like it's not possible to fit him into like these standards, and it's important. Like science doesn't. You can be a Christian and still believe in science. Science doesn't discredit Christianity or God. It just explains his creation. But there's certain things we're not going to understand.
Effectively, yeah.
Like, and I think, just people just really try and put God into a box, into our human. Because we're made in his image. Exactly. By trying to understand him, we're creating God in our image, and it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fair enough. Just now you said like your parents never forced you. So that makes me curious. Like, I want to ask, if you were to have children, would you not raise them to be Christian, or would you consider that forcing them?
No, I'd raise them to be Christian. So when I mean like they didn't force me, like I've had a lot of stories where people will ask like their parents questions about like Christianity, and they'd be like, just force them out to know you have to believe this, you have to believe that, you have to believe that. So in that sense, like that wasn't the case like in my household. But I did go to church, and like growing up, but then it got to a point I didn't want to go to church anymore. My mum did try. She said, "Oh, please do whatnot," but I was like, "I don't want to go," and she left me be. So in the house though, when she would want to listen to like worship songs, I'd hear it. I knew she'd pray. I knew she'd fast, but it wasn't like, "Come here, let's all pray. Come here, let's all fast." Like, but I've heard that for other people, that's the case. So for me, I don't want the same thing. They're going to church, and I'm going to pray for them and whatnot. And I do believe that there is power in prayer, because I never wanted God. And I truly believe that my mum's prayers is the reason why I did encounter God.
Fair enough. So then just on that case, I'd have to ask, would you consider it then bad if a parent was like, I'll say the word forced, was actually like, you're going to pray and you're going to, would you think that's bad?
Yeah, because it's about, Christianity is more about relationship over religion. So like a way I can explain this, like using like scripture, it says, I don't know word for word, but it's in Matthew, and it's essentially talking about like on Judgment Day when Jesus comes back, people like the Christians are going to say, "Lord, do we not prophesy in your name? Do we not perform miracles in your name?" And Jesus will turn around and say to them, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." If you don't know someone, that's a relationship. It's not a set of, I did this, I did that, because those people will be listening, "Oh, I did this, I did." That's works. Christianity is not a works-based religion. It's based on faith. Right. Okay. Oh yeah, I've heard this before from a couple of Christian men. Yeah, because it's not about like, I did this, I did that. It's about a relationship. Like he wants to know us in that sense. So where was I going with this?
I think I was just asking, in the sense like, would you consider it bad if...
Oh yeah. So I do believe that everyone needs to find God for themselves. Like, I say find God, but God is actually the one who finds. But you know what I mean? Like, actually want to do that. I can't force anyone to do that. I will only be pushing my children away and making them resent that, because a lot of people, like people who have experienced church hurt, they've experienced that from people, and now they don't want to get to know Jesus. Christianity shouldn't be based on what people have done. It's Jesus. Not about what I say, not what anyone says. It's Jesus. But naturally, as humans, that's how we are. So I wouldn't want to put my kids in a position where they resent me and resent Jesus through my actions. Okay. And yeah.
Alright, fair enough. That's an interesting perspective to have. I kind of get that. No, I get what you're saying when you say that. I think the only thing I think differently is... Camera's rolling. Yeah. Well, no, yeah. Do you know what Vaseline do you even like?
I like the small tub.
Swear?
Yeah.
No, I be liking this circle. One, but the what do you call it? Cocoa.
I like that one. I've never bought one for myself, but I've borrowed people's.
No, I like that one, but I've got it at home. I don't want to use it yet. I'm gonna use this one first. But no, yeah. Coming off of a very interesting topic while the camera died.
Yeah. What about like, will you beat your children? That's a random vibe. Yeah. Would you beat your children?
One of the problems with today's society is you expect people to do the same or do more with less tools in their belt, and I think parents probably do need to hit their kids. A lot of these kids these days, like, you can tell who's not getting hit at home by. I've seen kids that will tell their mum, like, F you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of people don't have any discipline, and probably hitting kids is probably one of the things you need to do, to be honest.
But then sometimes it can go the other way, where parents can, especially like African cultures, hit their kids too much to a point where now your kids don't even like you. They're just scared of you. Now when they go to places like uni, because they weren't allowed to do so many things, they put themselves in dangerous positions because they have no experience.
Yeah.
They don't, like, I went to a club with someone and because she passed this kid, proper like very, 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 very strict Nigerian upbringing.
Yeah.
She came to uni, she goes to a club and she asked for a glass of vodka.
Okay.
Like, what do you mean a glass of vodka?
Oh, well, not a shot, like a whole...
Yeah, a glass of vodka because she like... glass of vodka. Like, that's... Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So lots of people, by disciplining them so much, hitting them all the time, they have no... You're putting them in a bubble. So they're going to...
When they get the opportunity to...
They just got a glass of vodka. You're trying to die. And who goes to a club and asks... I've never heard that. I was like, whoa, I had to tell her, this is not how you do it.
I feel you. I don't think the problem is I get over discipline. I think it's with some people, innit? But I think the problem is under disciplining people. But no, I kind of feel you because I think a lot of people came to uni just to try to run away from home. And I've sort of seen that. I've seen that play out.
And it's very common, especially in African community though. Like, you don't really see, like, for example, when it's time to go back home, this is just from what I've observed. I don't know statistics or anything.
No, I hear you.
But you see lots of the African community or Caribbean, just black community in general, they don't want to go home. They want to stay as long as possible. They don't want to go home. Whereas Asians or white people, they're excited to go home.
No, okay, but to be fair with you, even with that, I've met a lot of people with similar, like, they don't want to go home who might be Asian or white, and they don't want to go home, but I'm not sure, you know. Do you think Africans or black people in general over discipline their kids?
100%. But I'd say that from observation. So again, I could be coming at this with bias in the sense that, like, I know my relationship with my mum is really good, and again, even though she's African, she works in child protection, so she does like training for psychology of like child development. So there's a lot of she's been helped in that sense to understand and raise us a lot better. And then, like, even my dad, like, he's a businessman, so there's just a little, his brain turns a little bit more, and especially because we don't live with him as well. So there's that big thing. So because my relationship with my mum has always been, well, it hasn't always, but it, like, now I would say she's my best friend. I've always been able to tell her things. So like, when I used to drink, I would tell her, like, oh, I do drink, by the way. I would never hide the fact that I go clubbing. Like, I'd even show her what I was wearing before I'd go. Like, I was never someone who wore like skin out clothes anyways. That was never, I never felt comfortable with that. But I'd show her, I'd tell her, oh, I got home at 6 a.m, like, just this transparency. But when I got to uni, especially because I went to a school with all white people, that was very common. So it wasn't like anything special. Oh, look how close I am with my mom. Not that I do that now, but it was just that was the norm.
Okay.
But when I came to uni and I was around a lot more black people, they'd be like,
where are you from?
Hertfordshire.
That's north of London, isn't it?
Yeah, North London basically.
It's north of London.
Yeah. Oh yeah. North of, sorry, because where I live is just outside North London.
You're not from there.
But my dad lives in Everwood, so that's North London.
All right, well,
but so like when I came to uni and I was around like the black community, they would be like, so for example, I speak to my mum every single day, multiple times in a day. It'll be things like,
you still do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So so when I, like, that's the reaction I got, like, a lot. So people will be like, Kitty, what? You speak to your mum every day. You're always speaking to your mum. And I'm like, when's the last time you guys spoke to your mum? They're like, I haven't spoken to my mum in days, a week. And I'm like,
I feel
what? What do you mean? So you can wake up, you don't even know your mom's alive, your mom doesn't know you're alive, you don't have multiple conversations. Like, to me, I get it, but it's based on my personal experience, that's crazy. What do you mean?
And you think a lot of this is coming from, like, over-discipline, trying to run away?
Yeah, 100%, because they just want to escape. Because then when I ask, like, not to everyone, because it is a sensitive topic, like their childhood, what did their childhood look like? You hear a lot, oh, I got beat all the time.
Yeah.
It's like,
But do you think that, So, when you say, do you think there's a reason to beat a kid, or what would be acceptable to beat your kid?
I think there are, definitely, because my mum did beat me. Don't get me wrong, my mum did beat me. But then I think it got to a point where that wasn't working anymore. And this comes into the fact that...
But like, what for what though?
I still wasn't listening. So I feel like this is where, again, with personal experience, because my mum works in child protection, she adapted her parenting style and started, as I grew up, like when I was hitting like puberty and whatnot, to change her parenting. Like hitting me is not gonna solve anything really and truly. So she started like talking to me more, things like that, communication and things like that. So that helped us. That's when our relationship got like this. And I feel like within the Black community in general, we see this a lot, even like in relationships. I'm not saying that in other races this isn't an issue, but particularly in Black community, communication just doesn't exist. It's just shouting.
Oh, okay, no, I understand, but to be honest with you, if I look at my relationship with my mum and both my parents, to be honest, I kind of understand. I sympathise with people that they want to, uni's their escape, and they want to like kind of just run away to do what they want. But I think one thing I've realised is, as you age, you kind of get to understand your parents were right. Not everything, but 9 times out of 10, 8 to 9 times out of 10, they were right.
Yeah.
They were correct. And you come to see that, and even before you ever have kids, you'll kind of understand, okay, this is why they did that. And to be honest, I would have done a similar thing, because I know. And the problem with the cycle is, your kid's going to do what you did as a kid. And you're going to be the parent trying to guide them, and they're not going to listen, and then they're going to hate you. And then eventually, they're going to understand, and their kid is going to be the kid doing what they was doing, and they're going to hate. Do you understand? The problem is, what is trying to be achieved, I think, is trying to break the cycle. Because I remember one time, like, it was a cordial moment with my mum. I think I just had a cookie in my pocket, and I went to the kitchen, and I was walking suspiciously. I said, "Come here, what's in your pocket?" And there was a cookie there, innit? And then she said something like, I said something like, "Oh, how did you know?" She's like, "Don't you think I was a kid as well?" So like, even me and her are like best friends. When we talk for hours and hours. But even then, like, I think everyone wanted to kind of like get away and have their own full independence. But when you do get to understand, and you do get to say, "Oh, do you know what? They were right." So how would you even approach it? Because when you're gonna have kids, you're gonna want to say, you're gonna want them to just believe you and do what you say, because 9 times out of 10, you are doing it for their benefit, not for your own. So from that perspective, how can you not do it? Because you gotta communicate, but as a parent, as the elder, having you did go through childhood, don't you know better?
Yeah, because I think it's a sense where, as much as like I understand parents, they look out for us, and most of the time they are 100% right. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we do need to make our own life experiences. So even though I had like freedom, so my mum was kind of strict. She, like, when I was like in year 7, year 8, she was quite strict. But I used to like push the boundaries a little bit, and like with adapting, like she allowed me to do certain things based on my maturity level. So for example, my sister's younger than me; she's 17 now. But what I was allowed to do at 14, she wasn't allowed to do, just because of we had different maturity levels. So I think it's also about adapting your parenting styles to your child's maturity levels. So, like, I had some freedom, but I still made mistakes that I learned from myself. But it could have been a lot worse if I didn't have that freedom, because I would have tried to, the experiences I was experiencing, because of that freedom, I would have had them another way, my way, and that would have put me in dangerous situations, which I see a lot happening here at uni.
I think, okay, let me ask you this question then. A lot of people ask, would you raise your son and daughter the same? Would you give them the same treatment?
No.
Why is that?
Because for example, let's say I have 2 children. They're both 16, boy, girl. It's certain things are not as dangerous simply because he's a boy and she's a girl. In the sense that, for example, if he's walking home at 10 p.m, it's still dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as a girl walking home at 10 p.m. It's not the same. So because of that, there's a leeway.
Right.
That the boy will naturally get more freedom to do certain things because it's not so much a risk.
Okay.
And again, like, there's biological instincts. So let's say, like, a man tries and hits him or something, like, or a man tries and hits a girl, it's completely different. A guy would know defend himself. A girl wouldn't even think because of, like, the biological strength. There's a lot of biological instincts that come into play, which means they're going to have different experiences naturally.
The reason I asked that question is because, similar to what you said, I always think that people drag out the difference between boys and girls and men and women. And in my experience, my parents growing up, they were very, very obsessed with, like, gangs and gang violence, like so much so that I didn't get any freedom. It was straight home, back after school. I was still getting dropped off to school up to year 9 maybe even, and I didn't want to because, you know what I'm saying, you want to chill with your friends, do all that. But yeah, so they were so obsessed with, you know, gang violence, knife crime, street crime, all of that stuff in it. So in my experience, when people even bring up this example, I was never even, there's no walking home at 10 p.m. for me. That was never happening. Even now, like, at 11 I was, Morrison's, you know, the one near, closed at 11, right? So I'm walking there and it's like 10:30. Just, I need quick rapid get some paracetamol or something. I'm having some pain. And my mom calls me in it, and she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you going? And let me stay on the phone with you to make," you know what I'm saying? And like, so I get when people bring up that example between treating boys and girls differently, or even your parents doing a little bit too much. But I still think that it's similar for boys and girls, and I still understand people that wanted a little bit of freedom, so they ran away to uni and they didn't want to go home. I don't know if that was over-disciplined. I don't think that was over-disciplined, to be honest with you.
So what do you think it is?
I'm not sure, you know.
I think it is, because over-discipline doesn't necessarily mean, like, obviously hitting. Like, it could literally just be saying things like I know someone, he was obviously, like, in year 13 and his phone was still getting taken away. Like, things like that. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's, like, come on.
But to be honest, I know girls, I don't think that's just Africans or just black people. I know girls that they were getting that experience, but I think it's a lot of controlling parents. But their mistake is they don't realise that their kid's going to grow up to hate them. I think that's excessive. I think you need to raise them with some fundamentals. What are they taking their phone for, though?
Like, oh, he needs to study. Like, he's a distraction.
Nah, to be honest with you...
like...
Nah, to be honest with you, I'm not sure, innit? I kind of get that, but a lot of kids failed because what was they doing? They were on their phone scrolling social media, and yeah, a lot of people. That's what it is. They're not focusing enough. And even as a parent now, you would hope you raise your kids so that they would do it on their own. But if they don't do it on their own, what other choice do you have, really?
But you can't, because do you know what it is? I get, because like me and my sister, we were two different.
Actually, you keep bringing up your sister. I'm looking at it now, right? When I examine my childhood versus my youngest brother, that boy is very spoiled. Like, he has everything.
Is he older or younger?
My youngest brother. Like, he had everything long before we even had it. Like he's getting a trim every 3 weeks, like flat without fail. Like there was time. It's not even money. Like I felt a bit more mature. I didn't want to be bothersome. But that boy is like, he's getting everything. He does what he likes. He was going out at a younger age than me. He's getting a lot more freedom, a lot more space, and he's still like in a way being treated like a baby. Whereas I had to man up quick. Not even that I had to, but I manned up more quickly. I wanted to do my own thing more quickly than him. So I feel like I'm one of the types where a lot of men say the younger child got treated way better than we got treated as the older kids. So, but you're saying your little sister's getting treated worse than you did.
No, I think it depends. In what sense? In the sense that it depends, because when she was younger, like I'm talking primary school.
Yeah.
I'd say she was treated better, like better in the sense that she was really spoiled, and my mum would give her so much like affection and whatnot. She would get more affection than I did, but it never really bothered me. But my mum, like upon reflection, she thinks that like she feels really bad, and I told her like it's not that deep, like it's okay, because she says sometimes she even looks at photo albums, and like she's always hugging my sister, and I'm like it genuinely didn't bother, like I'm genuinely fine. Like,
no, but from my mom's perspective, like
so I understand it, but she brings up, I'm like, honestly, like I'm actually fine, like I am. So in that sense, yeah. But then because I think again it comes down to also individual differences in the sense that I was very academic. And my sister was more the creative one, so I'm not really creative. So from a young age, like I was always in tuition, everything. Like my mum had tried to put like my sister into it, but she never really wanted to, and my mum just let her to her own devices. But I feel like I didn't even have a choice per se. But then I also
is there a 3-year age gap between you and your sister?
Yeah, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3.
So she's about to be 18.
Yeah.
And you're
20.
Still 20 for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like so there was just that like a lot of differences. But then I guess when things started to get more serious, like for secondary school, I don't know what the right choice of words is, but I guess my mom kind of like panicked. That's the only way I could explain, like in the sense that like my sister is not as academic like as I am. Like I was just fine, just cruising through like secondary school, A-level, I'm now at uni, just she didn't need to check on me, like she just knew Kittie was good. Whereas now my sister's growing up, it's like, oh, GCSEs are coming up, she's doing her A-levels, like what are you gonna do with your life? I've let you to be too free in that sense. But then again, like we also had different maturity levels. Like my sister is still young in the mind, even though she's grown compared to who I was at that age. Still a bit more malleable. Yeah. So it's just one of them. I can't remember where I was going to link this back. What was the question again, sorry? I was trying to I need to explain that.
I think I was just saying that my little brother gets it off a lot easier than I did. Than we did. And I thought maybe your little sister, as you were saying, got it worse than the reverse to my situation. Yes. But actually, now that you even mentioned it, just makes me think, like, as older siblings, don't we also have a responsibility in the disciplining of the...
But not physical though.
No, okay, not physical, but you need to start applying pressure, no?
Yeah, 100%. Like, because, sorry, you go.
No, you go ahead,
So like, even like now, like, because I understand, okay, me and my sister, we're not the same person. Certain skill sets I have, the same way certain skill sets, like I'm not creative. She's the one who knows how to do all these things. We have different skill sets. So let's help each other, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So as the older sister, I took it upon myself to like help her, like with her personal statement, her CV, do like I'll just sort it out, do you know what I'm saying? And even help her, like she wants to go into like apprenticeships. Uni's not really the path she wants to go down. She wants to do like apprenticeships or maybe degree apprenticeships and most type thing. Help her look for them. Like even if I've helped her with her personal statement and her CV. If I see something, just apply, put her email, done. So as the older sister, I do have that, feel that it's like my child.
Responsibility.
This is my child, so I'm just going to do it. Do you get what I'm saying?
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. I found something interesting the other day. I don't know if it applies. It's like this American guy, he was kind of mixed race though. He was talking about the black community, right? And he said, he had a bunch of black dots on a piece of paper and he said, look at all these, wealthy, strong individuals doing their own thing. And he said, this isn't power. And he said, we've been tricked into thinking this is what power is. But then he turned the picture and he had like those same black dots but kind of connected in like a spider web. And he's like, even if you're not the center of your own network, if you form part of a network, now look at all these black individuals working as a team. I think when the parents discipline us, they might have lived a different life, but they've lived life, and often life follows the same scaffold. So I think what they want is some of them, okay, there's a problem. Some of them want to vicariously live through you. They want you to do what they would have done.
Yeah.
And that's probably part of the problem. They want you to essentially be them.
To do what they couldn't do.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem, I think. But I think what the good ones are attempting to do is like, in 20 years' time, you will look back and think, "Raw, they were right. Where would I be had I just listened?" And if you just did that, I don't know, maybe these past few years I kind of reflect a lot, and I just think, wow, damn, mum was right. So I don't blame them, because parenting there isn't much of an instruction manual, and if you get it wrong, it's like, can you fix it? So I kind of don't blame them.
It is a difficult one. I just think a lot of people, people like parents, before having children, I think it would be beneficial to everyone, not just the black community, like across like the whole of humanity.
Yeah.
If they got to the root of certain issues that they display.
I think a lot of people need to reflect. Yeah, need to reflect and think how their own childhood was. But the problem is, when people say they're not going to hit their kids, I think they're living in La La Land.
Word, they're Delulu. They need to go to therapy and they need to address these issues. Or even if, like, as a child, let's say they were like sexually abused, then it's natural they wouldn't want their kids around anyone either. But then that's like, you're trying to hold on to your kids like this. They need space to grow. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of issues really need to be addressed before having children, for their sake, really and truly, and the sake of like their kids, like their grandchildren and whatnot. Like, because then it's just a cycle that's just carrying on, carry on. And I feel like the biggest thing is acceptance, because you're not going to seek help if you can't even accept that there's a problem in the first place. So I feel like that's where the root of the issue lies, is with acceptance.
But okay, then to do something like that, you'd have to know yourself. You'd have to be very introspective and reflective. But for you to accept, okay, do you know what, I think this is affecting me in this way. A lot of people live in the now, if I'm being honest. If I get ill or I get hurt, I want to sleep it off so that it disappears. And that works sometimes. Sometimes it don't work, innit? So you have to be very introspective and know yourself. Do you think a lot of people have the balls to admit, oh, you know what? Yeah, I am a bit messed up, or I didn't like this, and I think if I were to have kids, it will affect how I'll raise them, because I haven't really lived through that well. Do you think people? I don't think people have the capability to do that.
Not many, I don't think. But then I think
I don't think most people don't have that.
No, that's true. But then I think because they don't, usually, I feel like also then again it comes down to like listening, in the sense that their friends would tell them, if again it depends if they have good people around them. Like again, this is not my personal story, but I know like my friend, her friend has a lot. It's clear that she has a lot of mental issues with the behavior she's been displaying. It's very evident, and she had a conversation with her and was like, "Listen, it's not okay." Essentially, like pretty much.
What was she doing?
It's crazy. She's definitely showing signs of borderline personality disorder.
Really?
Like it's quite crazy. Like really and truly, it is crazy, and to me it's like so obvious. And I guess to other people's, again, it comes down to like, do people actually have the courage to even say that to them? How do you tell your friend, I think you've got issues? I think a lot of people live in such denial that if you said to them, you'd either cause a fight or they'd be angry or... And that's the thing, like, and I feel like it's really sad in the sense that, because in the past I have told I thought he had ADHD. So like, no, not ADHD, sorry. I think he was autistic, but on the lower spectrum. And that's so uncomfortable, like telling someone, I think you're autistic. But it's because me and him, so we went like secondary all the way to sixth form together. And we've always been like really close, like very, very close. So like he knows like a lot of my personal business. I know a lot of his personal business. In class, I'd see him, like, he was someone who would revise, like, all the time, revise way more than me, and he'd fail all the time. The maths was not mathsing, not even like a C, a B, fail. And I know, because I would see him, like, actually, it wasn't like he was saying, oh yeah, I've revised and I haven't seen it. Then you'd be like, I would actually see him. And then even like with friends, there were certain things, and I was so thinking, like, not in a rude way, but surely there can't be something right. The maths is not like mathsing. And I did some research, autism came up, and I was like, I'm just going to speak to him. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything. This is a Google search, and I'm just going to express it to him, what he chooses to do. I can't sit here and just allow this, like...
How did that conversation go?
He thought I was joking, and I was like, I'm being so serious, because I was literally like, please, like, I'm not trying to take the piss, like, please, I'm genuinely not trying to take the piss, but I'm worried about you.
Okay.
And then he already started laughing, and I was like, I think you have a condition. And he was like, what condition? And I was like, I think you're on the spectrum, but on the lower end of like the autistic spectrum. He just started laughing, and I was like, so I started laughing as well. And I was like, I promise you, like, I'm not even trying to be funny right now. And I listed all the reasons, like, I thought, and I was like, I promise you, I'm telling you this out of love, like, genuine love. There's no ulterior motive. I'm not trying to be funny. And I was like, we choose to do this information. It's up to you. But, like, I wouldn't be a good friend to not tell you. No, I can't just watch you on the sidelines and just not say it. And then he took it. I don't think he really understood what I was saying. Right. And then, we haven't spoken about it since. So I don't know. You
haven't spoken to my man since?
No, spoken about it. Oh, no, me and him were still cool. Me and him were still cool. But, like, I just... Fair enough.
That's...
But it's an awkward conversation to have.
No, I get you. I think... it's an awkward conversation to have, but... Even when somebody points you out or corrects you, you could feel, like, attacked. You will feel attacked. And that comes up a lot with parents and kids. You just feel like, why are you always on me? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it does come up quite a bit.
But you mentioned something interesting, which I want to touch on.
Come on.
You mentioned something about therapy. Yeah, therapy, like, did you have any therapy?
Yeah.
What made you... Can I ask why?
Yeah, so...
Oh, really? Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, like...
Oh, shit. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. So, like, 3 weeks into my first year of uni.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so very early. And I just wasn't dealing with it, like, well, like, at all.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's alright.
I've got a tissue.
It's alright.
Oh, that's crazy.
Honestly, don't worry.
Sorry about that. No. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because at first, I've never... like wanted to go to therapy, and so I wasn't going to tell my mum again because she works in child protection.
Are you sure you want to talk about this?
Yeah, honestly, it's like it's good for me to speak about it.
Wow.
But so because she works in child protection, I knew like she would want to go like police, lawyers, all of that, and for me that was just no, like I never wanted that like at all, and before. But it got to a point, I think it was reading week, I've gone home, like I said, me and my mum were quite close, and I just wasn't doing it.
Did you tell her straight away?
I wasn't going to though.
Oh, okay.
I had planned to, I'm just taking this to grave, I'm not telling him.
Okay.
But when I went home that week, because I didn't want to go home because I knew I wasn't okay, and I know my mum would pick up on it, but she had really asked, because I have a baby sister as well, a 3-year-old.
Alright.
But she was 2 then, I think, or 1. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
So she was 1. Yeah, so she needed help with childcare. I was like, okay, cool, I'll come. So I was just not in a good place. My mum kept asking me, and I wasn't telling her. I was just giving her like some excuses. Kept asking me. Then it got to one point, I was like, I can't. I was literally like on the dining table. I just couldn't. I couldn't anymore. I just started crying. I was like, Mum, I've got something to tell you. And I told her and whatnot. And then after that, she was the one who was like, okay, you're going to therapy. So it wasn't something I chose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's heavy.
Yeah. But I think therapy is very helpful. And I know my mum has previously gone to therapy, and like my dad also has previously gone to therapy.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I ask why they went, or?
So I don't know why my mum went. She's never told me. One day I'll ask her, but I don't think she's ready to talk about whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I know my dad, it was like he was engaged to someone after my parents divorced, and they went together like premarital counselling or like relationship counselling. There was things in their relationship that they needed to work on. But he did say he went individually after, but he didn't go for long. But I don't know why he went either.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Did his marriage end that well? Or?
Pardon?
Did his marriage end
No.
Oh.
No, he called it off.
Really?
Yeah.
Did that have anything to do with the therapy?
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't think they were meant for each other anyways.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Damn, that's I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I made this so heavy.
No. You should be sorry, innit? Yeah. I didn't think it was that.
But then when I started therapy, initially that was the reason, and then other things started coming up. So like.
Because I remember you saying you continued.
Yeah, so I continued. I was in therapy for what, over a year? I think 1 year and 5 months. I think.
Right.
Yeah, 1 year and 5 months. So I did do a while. So then other things came up like childhood. What was your childhood like? Just a bunch of other things. My relationships. So. We didn't just tackle that. Like we tackled like everything really.
But so are you still going?
No, I stopped now.
How comes? Or you just think you're?
So, because what happened was my therapist, she was leaving the practice.
Really?
And then she was going somewhere else though. It's still in Leicester.
Okay.
So I could have gone. She was like, "Oh, if you want, you can either. There's 2 options. I can either get another therapist at this practice, or I can follow her wherever she's going." But it got to that point, like even before she was leaving, I was feeling like I didn't really need it, especially because I'd found God and whatnot. I didn't really feel like at this stage I didn't really need it anymore. No, so she was like. Because when you stop therapy, you still need a 3-month break before you can get another therapist. It makes no sense to me. But so I was like, she was like, in that 3-month break, take time to think. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I've got 3 months. And the 3 months passed, and I was like, I don't really think. Oh, okay. I don't really think so. I just haven't been back since.
Fair enough. Is therapy something you'd recommend for?
100%.
Do you just recommend it to anyone, or do you think people need to have a reason to take it?
No, I think everyone has. I feel like everyone has issues that they don't even know about. So like even when I was going to therapy, I thought I knew what we talk about, things like that. But this woman would be bringing up other things that I didn't even know were there, and I was just there literally every session shocked. Like what? Like I didn't know this about myself. Like it's just really eye-opening, and it's like, wow, really and truly wow.
Fair enough.
And it's really helpful. So when you, like, let's say you're expressing like negative behaviors, whatever that they may be, you can stop yourself. You can know what's going on, and do something about it before it gets worse or anything.
Okay.
So I do definitely think especially when it's behaviours you don't even know you do.
So how would you notice you're doing negative behaviours if you don't know you do?
Because when you talk about them in therapy, then this is my theory. Okay. I don't have any scientific proof of this. Okay. Once you've spoken about it, it goes somewhere in your subconscious or your like active mind. Right. So when you do it, something clicks to, I've spoken about this in therapy, and they've told me to do this and this when this happens, or something like that. So
can I ask what a specific example of that might be?
So for example, sometimes when life is too much, I like to daydream, proper, but I didn't know it was a bad thing. Like until she explained to me like it's maladaptive, and there's a lot, she explained a lot to it. Right. So they do also explain why they're bad, because I'm like, it's just a bit of daydreaming. I'm not harming nobody. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not that deep. But when they explain it, you're like, oh, okay, makes sense. So in that case, what happens is, if I know that things are getting intense, what helps me personally is actually, so there's an emotion wheel. So I have this card and it has different emotions. Okay. And it's really weird. It's honestly a weird thing. I never thought I'd ever do this, but like I just look at the card and just point to whichever ones, or say out loud whichever ones, like whatever emotions I'm feeling. and it generally helps. Like those are some of the things. Or like I used to dissociate quite a bit. Okay. So it's like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. So you say 5 things you can see.
Okay.
When you can feel yourself.
Right.
4 things you can feel.
Okay.
3 things you can smell.
Right.
2 things you can hear.
Okay.
And what's the one? I forgot what the one was.
Right. Something you can taste.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. But that one is weird though, because it's like, do you get what I'm saying? Mm. And then that helps. So there's a lot of, but there's a bunch of like different things, and like they help you, like actually find out what is for you and what is for you. So like it's actually practical as well. Mm-hmm. It's not like you go to therapy and they say, oh, you've got this wrong with you, go. Do you get what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, I can suggest this, try it, doesn't work, try something else. Mm. But it's not in a way that feels like you're going to the doctor and they just want to hurry up and just get you out of the room type thing.
I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where it's like actually like a friendship. Like when I finished therapy, I was like, damn, my friend, I see you every Wednesday. Like that's so sad. Like,
no, I feel you. That's crazy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need therapy?
I don't know. I feel like as a man, you don't really go around talking about your problems, innit? Like, I think I even bring that up is because a lot of people these days, they still say, it's still the common belief that, you know, men don't talk to anyone about, and you just handle it yourself. And everything I have, any problem I have, I usually keep to myself, or I sleep it off. So.
See, I just identified your coping mechanism. So then you get to the root of that. Your coping, then you get to the root of that. Okay. Then you start, like in therapy, it's like, why do you feel the need to sleep? Why can't you face reality? Why is it so intense? Then they really pick until they get to like the root. Because you think, very sometimes they'll ask you questions and you're like, oh, why do you think you sleep it off? Because it's too intense to affect it. Fair enough. You think that's the root of the issue? No, they pick, and it's like what? And it's most of the time where they don't even tell you. You even end up by the way they ask you certain questions. It's like you even bring it up yourself. So it's not even like you can ever think, oh, did I make this thing up? Because it's like you said it type of thing. It's not really leading questions, if that makes sense.
What was your first reaction of therapy though? Was you fully into it when you?
No.
So how's your first session then?
So the first session was kind of like, oh, what brings you to therapy? And I was like, wow, I just met you. Like, I don't really know. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, it's kind of, I found it kind of awkward, but I feel like obviously the therapist, they can kind of read that, so they work with you. So then they just end up asking me quite a lot of questions. Like the first therapy session isn't really in depth. It's just more of quite surface level stuff. So I was like, okay, because it was like surface, I was like, oh, this is not too bad. Like, cool. Second one, so I've had 2 therapists. I did 6 sessions with one, and then I changed to my other therapist. Okay,
what happened with the first one?
So the first one, because at first I did it with like the uni, like the well-being, just for practice, because I was like, I wasn't very open-minded to it. Remember, like my mum was the one who was like, you're going. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the uni one, like we're gonna start with this. So I don't know why, but you're only allowed 6 sessions. Like you're not even allowed to like pay for any more after. But I was kind of happy with changing because I don't know, that therapist, I felt like she was a bit patronizing. I don't know, yeah, just a little bit. I don't know if it was in my head, but she was a little bit patronising, I found. And then when I went private, then I was like, okay, I like this one a lot.
You know what? I can remember why, because last time when I first met you, and it was the 4 of us. Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4 of us. I think I must have asked, you were just talking, and obviously I'm new to this group dynamic, innit? And you were just talking, and I wanted to ask, or I think I asked why you got therapy, and then P must have said, oh, that's very personal, maybe she doesn't want to, And I think you maybe glossed over it. I wasn't. I don't think you mentioned it then.
Yeah, because I wasn't ready to talk about it then.
Yeah.
Things were still like unfolding for me. I was still understanding quite a bit, but now I am recently actually at a place where I feel like it is important to talk about these things.
That's a big thing. Even to me, that's scary. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, no, it is. I understand, but it's a process. I didn't wake up one day and I was like, I'm still got all these things. Like, it's definitely a process.
Yeah, that's.
And I guess my advice is to try and enjoy it. Okay. See the beauty through the pain.
I feel you. What made you like? Okay, when I shouted you, what made you even like come through this podcast? Like,
that's good.
I'm even joking. Would I ever become Prime Minister? Who knows, innit? But it's definitely like something I'm thinking about. But why did you do business management, right? Why did you do that?
Because, like I was saying earlier, I'm not very creative. So I've always been someone who's quite analytical. Right. I always did like my homework on time. Like kind of basically a nerd, but not intentionally. Like it's just boom, boom, boom. That's just how I think. Okay. Like that's always been me. And like my parents. So my mum does work in child protection, but she also has like quite, I'd say, an entrepreneurial mind. Yeah. And my dad is. So like watching them and hearing things they say, it's like inspiring. I like this. Okay. So then I would also like watch a lot of shows like growing up, like The Apprentice and Dragon's Den. And I was like, whatever this is, this type of thing, this is what I want. So then GCSE, I understood it's business. GCSE, I did business. I got a 9. I was like, cold. Yeah, so I was like, at least like, it's not just in my head. The theory. No. Then I took it A level. I got an A. It should have been an A star though. Really? I was 2% off an A star. Okay. So I was like, okay, so at least it makes sense. It's not just I can back it up. Do you know what I'm saying? So my mind has always turned like that, and I think it's so crazy. Literally everything is a bit. This is a business, honestly. And not just this. The people who did the labeling, the caps, the water itself. Vaseline, the same. Everything's a business. Your hair, my hair. Everything is a business, and I feel like to me that's always fascinated me. It's like that's everything's actually a business. Like
money rules everything around me.
Like it's genuinely so crazy, and I found that very interesting. So then I was like it was an obvious choice. There was nothing else that ever screamed at me like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. It was always I'm going down the business route. So I did it. Doing it business management. Fair enough. But then it leaves me where I am today, like final year. I can do anything. Yeah. I don't know what I want to do. Fair enough. So I'm kind of at that point where it's like, I do like the idea of project management. And there was a time I preferred like finance. Yeah. But then I did a placement at B. Okay. And it was horrible. The investment bank. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Don't say it, no, cut that bit out where I said it's horrible. It wasn't horrible. I need them to bring me back up. But what's it called? That's cool. You got a placement. Yeah. That's good. So it was good. It was good though, like itself, but it opened my eyes. Finance is not what I want. Like all they think, like I know. That's all the money's at though. It is, but all they think about is money. Like that's it. And it's not a 9 to 5. It's an 8 to 6 at best. Yeah. Your whole life is what is that. And as well, what I noticed, you know how people, again, what you were saying before, don't realise certain things until you're in the situation itself. Yeah. When people say, oh, it's all old white men and there's barely any women, I knew it. I was like, obviously, but I didn't realise the actual extent until I was there. Yeah. Like, it's literally 5% women, max. And then the maddest thing is, again, we were discussing this yesterday actually, in one of my seminars, Power at Work, and a lot of women masculinize, what's that word? Masculinize. Themselves. Try and fit what the male standard would be to succeed. Yeah, so like, I would describe myself as quite like a feminine, like girly girl, like not really today, like I'm just in a tracksuit. Yeah. But like for the most part, especially going into the office, I'm gonna have my makeup done, I'm gonna make sure I'm looking good and whatnot. So when I was there, yesterday explained what I couldn't put into words. So when I was there, I was thinking like, not that I'm the only one who puts effort into their appearance, but it's coming across that way because like, and it worked, and I understood it now. Like because of yesterday's seminar, when they were explaining why like women even feel the need to do this. Because when I was there, especially like as a young girl, and men, being men, like I just felt like meat. Like I would walk in genuinely, and like when an investment bank, you all have stuff to be doing. Why are you all looking at me like like you've never seen a woman in your life? And I was thinking, why don't they look at the others? And then but when I was looking at the other girls, like they were all like I said, it looked like they were masculinizing themselves, but I couldn't put it into words at this point.
Right.
Like, so I was just thinking like, do you know, like even if they had makeup on, it wouldn't be noticeable to men. It's men would probably think they didn't have no makeup on in that type of look. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't
just so they look presentable. Yeah,
something like so their eye bags aren't there, just little something, or like if they had like their shirts all the way up to the top, like we're girls, we have like a little. I'm not saying have. That's not even me. I'm modest. Do you get what I'm saying? Nah. But girls have a little like opening or something.
Right.
Even their blazers were obviously bigger, like the shoulder pads broader, just or like proper like zipped to like here.
Okay.
And it's like you can still be feminine and modest. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like so, I was just very confused, and like the woman would like. Just the way they carried themselves, it was proper like boom, boom, boom. And I was so confused. So that's why when I think, because I guess...
Did they ever say to you like, oh, you can't dress like this here or...
No, I was fine. Like, genuinely. Like...
Okay, so when you went there, was there anyone you went to? Did you have like a mentor or a...
Yeah, I did. But she was fine.
So what did she say about, say, women's experience there?
We didn't really speak about it. But she wasn't so bad. Like she wasn't that bad. Like the way she carried herself, because she was very high up, she was kind of more casual. So she didn't even really wear like suits like that, anyways. So she had a much more casual. So even though I was wearing like work trousers and shirts and that, but she could because she was so high. Like she's the vice president. Right. So do you get what I'm saying? Like so, but it never really came up because I didn't even know how to say it properly without. Like, because I knew what I was trying to explain, but I didn't actually know how to articulate myself until like when we spoke about it yesterday. I was like, I knew I wasn't going mad. Like, there's an actual thing for this, and I was like, okay. But then, upon reflection, like after the seminar, I was thinking, why else do women do that? I know it's like so that they show, especially in such an industry, to show that they're capable of doing the same what a man can do, a woman can do. I get that, but there has to be more to that because as women, we have a natural instinct, like especially when we're doing our makeup, there's certain things like men wouldn't really understand that, but woman to woman, there has to be more than just proving you can do. There has to be more. And I was thinking, I felt like I was a piece of meat. The men weren't really looking at those women like that because they're protecting, because they see them like it's one of the boys, not really one of the boys, but like do you know what I'm saying? I was like, I got it. Okay. So it's a form of protection as well. Right. Yeah. And again, we were talking even like power at work. We were talking like it's about like identity control and things like that. So when you're in a certain workplace, it's a form of like how power can be exerted, but it's more implicit where you change your identity. So like for a woman changing your makeup, you're changing your identity in a way. But I just thought it was very interesting that this is actually real life. Like it was very weird.
What did you expect coming in though?
I knew that there would be a lot of men, but I thought it'd be like 60-70% men.
Do you think that's just because maybe that industry or that workplace?
I think definitely because of specifically that industry, and I knew like the trading floor because I wanted to see like everything. So I saw like where the actual trades have. It literally looks like Wolf of Wall Street. It's actually exactly the same. With the actual trading part, not the rest of the building.
With the computers and all that?
Yeah, with the computers.
Okay, and they're looking at charts and...
Yeah, like it literally actually looks like that. But it's actually all men. I didn't see one woman. And I went to different parts of trade, like so when they trade metal, gold, like the different parts, it's literally like all men. I didn't see a single woman. Okay. And I was like, damn, fair enough. But like throughout the rest of the building...
Do women apply or does no one say... Did you not ask the VP, did you ask them any about it?
No, because I didn't know how to articulate myself. Like I was really struggling. I was thinking, like, I really wanted to know, but I was kind of nervous.
How long were you there?
3 weeks. So it was a short placement. Okay. It wasn't long, but yeah, I was kind of nervous about asking. really and truly.
So where you saw women, where was it?
So it's difficult to explain because the way the buildings are set up is like everyone's everywhere. Like unless you work there, you won't know that this is the research department, this is compliance, this is regulatory. Like there's no like sign that separates everything. Like there's just bunch of desks and bunch of computers everywhere. But the people who work there seem to, I don't know how they know it, but they know that these are these people. So I don't actually know what departments these people were in, but I would see some like dotted here and there, or like even like the interns like that they would hire were very masculine as well. Okay. And I was like, this is because it was really bugging me. I was like, I can't explain this because the word I'm looking for is like, I was thinking, why aren't some of them pretty? But pretty's not the word. Yeah. It's not. It wasn't a word, but like stereotypically pretty. But I was like, no, this is not one. There's something else here. I was so happy yesterday. I had such an aha moment. I was like,
okay, I feel you.
It is.
That's interesting. But okay, it's probably a bit touchy. But you, I guess you must have been like one of the only black people there. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I expected that one, to be fair.
So
that one didn't take me by surprise. Like I saw I think like 2 black men, but as far as another black woman, I didn't see.
The black men, what were they doing?
I have no clue. I saw them on the escalators. I never saw them like in her, because there's different floors though.
Where is this place?
It's in Marylebone.
Oh yeah, it's just West London, isn't it?
Yeah, West.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It is kind of crazy though.
But all this made you think finance ain't for you.
Yeah, and especially like even I understood, you know, like I hear like there's a lot. I've always heard the stories of like how there's a lot of coercion where women are like coerced into like sleeping with their bosses. Oh yeah. Like, because I understood that, and I've like again, it's one of the ones until you're in a situation, you understand why it's so common. So I understood it, and I definitely believed it. I just didn't understand how is it so easy to like.
Yeah, I always wondered. Like I thought they always say that position of power and.
Yeah, so I never.
I just thought like, how does that work?
How does it work? But I was like, I noticed it I was only there for 3 weeks. Yeah. And I noticed that, so like, with investment banking, if you want to contact someone, like, you can just walk up to, like I said, there's no like separators, it's just a bunch. If you want to speak to someone, I didn't know where everything, I'd ask, where does this person sit? They'll tell me and I'll go speak to them if I needed information. That's one way of communication. Or they have like a messenger system where everyone can speak to everyone and you get instant reply. So if I wanted to, like, let's say, if I was on my laptop and I want to message you, your name, boom, it's way quicker than the email. Literally like a message, and it's always on the corner of your screen. So anytime you get a message, that's how you contact each other. Outside of that, unless you're like, obviously naturally you become friends with your colleagues, there's no need for anything else to contact.
Yeah, you don't need to be talking to people unnecessarily.
You don't. Okay. You really don't. So
but not even like a social like.
Unless you become friends. Okay. But there's no need to, like, you know, you message your work colleagues, can you fill me in for something? You have it that everything is here. Yeah. And like I said, there's no, you just walk up and go. It's like me going over to like there. Yeah. I'll just go speak to you there. Do you get what I'm saying? Type thing. So what I noticed at first, because I noticed this dynamic, and I did ask the vice president about this. I was like, so you guys don't need to message each other. She's like, no, we have everything is here. And I was like, okay, cool. And I noticed like some of the men, when I'd speak to them, they'd ask me for like my LinkedIn, and I was like, okay, Fez. It's LinkedIn. It's not that deep. Right. It's LinkedIn. And it's beneficial for me. Like, cool. Connecting on LinkedIn. Then they're giving me like their work emails. They're like, I want make sure you come back. Make sure you come back. You think that's fine. Okay. Yeah. I work well. Right. Yeah. But then at the same time, you as a woman, you think, are you saying that because I work well or because I'm pretty? Like, you never really know.
No, I get that.
So it's kind of like, damn, like, I don't even know. Okay. So then that's that. So asking me for like the work emails. I was like, I don't even work here. You know, I'm here for 3 weeks. Yeah. Well, I don't need your work email. Fair enough. When I'm leaving, now they're giving me like their personal emails. What do I need your personal email for? Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, so I was thinking like they all do it like on post-it notes. That's what I noticed. Okay. They give it on post-it notes, and I'm like, they're like, just take it, take it. And I'm thinking, what do I need to message you about? Like, I'm here for 3 weeks. Okay. Like, I'm going back to uni. Right. Like, what? You've given me your work email, you've given me your LinkedIn. What do I need your personal email for? Then it's subtle things. Like, I needed to speak to someone about like the graduate programs. I wanted to know more about it.
Right.
Like they have long-term interns.
Okay.
And he was quite young, and he's been in the company for a while.
Right.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I need to speak to him. So I asked someone, one of the guys. I was like, oh, is he in today? And he's like, oh no, he's not. And I was just like, okay, cool. What did he say? He said he's going on his lunch break, but he's gonna call or speak to them on like their messenger thing, because I don't know. He just said he'll contact him. It's like, but I'm gonna give you my number. I'll call you once I found out what this person has said. And I'm thinking, I'm still gonna be here when you're back from your lunch break. Okay. You can just tell me what they've said. Yeah. Like if he's not in, he's not in. He'll come tomorrow. I'll see him tomorrow. Yeah. So I was like, okay, so he's giving me his number now. I'm thinking, damn. So now you've got my number. It's crazy. So it's always like subtle things. You think
that you're basically getting tricked into
like, and you're kind of like forced to say, like, what am I supposed to say? Because you're doing me a favor by finding out. Even though I didn't ask, I just asked, is he in today? Yeah. So like now I'm kind of like forced to take your number. Yeah, I get that. So then I feel like if I was there longer, how much more would this have got? I was there for 3 weeks, and these were like subtle things. So then it made me understand, these women, it's weird. Again, we're talking about this at Power Work, like there's emotional control, it's like normative control to be more specific. It's these things where it feels like you owe someone. Like, all I asked was, is he in? You could have said no. Yeah. That's it. No, now you're giving me your number for what? Like, so it's one of them ones.
No, I get you. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that, to be honest.
Neither.
Because obviously we've never like worked in them kind of environments. But you know, you just hear it in the media, or you see it on TV, and you just wonder like,
how do these girls get trapped all the time?
Yeah.
Like,
what's going on here?
Yeah. Like, I thought it would be more like explicit in your face, like, he'd flirt with
like,
you.
Or you're not gonna get this job if you don't do so and so. Yeah. Like what's the name? Like there's a famous one like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And I just think that's crazy. Yeah,
because it's like, if you're a woman and smart enough to get into such an industry, surely you should be smarter than that. Yeah. So it was always one of the ones where I believed it, but I never fully understood it. I never grasped like how, especially because it's like on the media so many times. Surely you'd learn from other women's experiences.
That's what I think as well.
Like until I was there, I was like, this is 3 weeks. Some people, they've worked at this company for years. I can see how it can get to more extreme levels. And I was like, okay,
fair enough.
Yeah. Like, he actually, imagine, you could have just said no. Just no, he's not in.
Yeah.
See, men are just so sneaky. It's just finding ways. He just wanted to give me his number.
Fair enough. That's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, you don't want to say work in finance. I wanted to ask you, would you not like start your own business?
Yeah, I would.
What would you do if you...
See, that's the thing, I don't know, because I feel like with business you have to have at least... everyone says you need to have a passion for the business, but I don't think you need to have a passion, but you need to at least strongly like it.
They say you need the passion because at the start when it's not doing well, what's gonna motivate you to... Yeah. Because not everyone can just like trust in the process or see the grind or... Do you understand? I think that's why they say.
Yeah, like I hear it. I get it. I guess it comes down to personal things.
Because I think it's one of these things. A lot of these like influencers and these, if you listen to say Andrew Tate or David Goggins or Joe Rogan, I think they say it's not that you lack motivation. You've got the motivation. It's the fact that you lack discipline. Yeah. I think that's why.
And it's kind of like, I guess in that sense, I think I do have discipline in the sense that I think it was also passed down to me in the sense that my dad is a very, very, very disciplined guy. Like, especially like in terms of fitness, business. Like this man, even the things he eats, like he only eats like wholemeal flour and whatnot. So he can go to a restaurant, like we love this pasta place. We'll go and he'll be like, can I have the sauce? I need to boil my brown pasta when we get home, things like that. Or obviously, like I said, I don't live with my dad. So sometimes I'll go months without going to my dad's. He likes Snickers, that's the only thing he likes. He will have one bite, leave it in the fridge. The next time I come to my dad's, the Snickers bar with just the one bite is there. So there's discipline, and then he's like or is his name Mark Goggins? David Goggins. Not that extreme, but like close.
Who's gonna carry the ball?
Like that kind of level.
I
feel like that's naturally been passed down to me, but I also do believe that like I've worked for it. So like in a sense, like I go to the gym, like kickboxing. There's a lot of things. Growing up, I've always like done. Even like I did swimming, piano. So there's a lot of ways that I've been disciplined and put it into practice. So I feel like over the years, it's just about learning to apply that throughout things. So I feel like I could do something. Obviously, I have to like it. Like I'm not really into numbers like that, surprisingly. like so I wouldn't do trading because I know I wouldn't like it at all. But if I like it, like medium amount, I feel like my discipline could carry me. But I know that's not the same for everyone.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
So we'll see, man.
Yeah, honestly. Honestly, it's been good though.
Yeah.
Interesting.